that you're already at a time of year is back. PPL Live, it's time to crown another champ. 2023 to 24, it's going down. Lots of competition, only one can wear the crown. Hope that you're already at a time of year is back. PPL Live, it's time to crown another champ. 2023 to 24, it's going down. Lots of competition, only one can wear the crown. Squad underestimated, finally won his first shit. They put the work and made some trades, yeah, that was good shit. But don't get comfortable, the league is filled with champions. Don't sleep on your opponent, better stay away from ambience. We back again, another year of PPL. Back to talk smack again, we treat it like the NFL. Time to stack your rosters up and build your best to never fail. By week 6 we take advantage, if you're weak cause we could tell. You better bring your A game, be solid like an A-frame. A new year but the same thing, you better be ready to bang bang. It's showtime, PPL Live is ready to go. Gino the Jet will let you know we won't be easy, that's for sure. When the pass smack and bones crack, yeah, you gotta love that. Glad it's back, PPL is running back. Live shows, speak the facts, analyze and talk the trash. Play the game to win the cash, never try to end up last. Hope that you're already at a time of year is back. PPL Live, it's time to crown another champ. 2023 to 24, it's going down. Lots of competition, only one can wear the crown. Hope that you're already at a time of year is back. PPL Live, it's time to crown another champ. 2023 to 24, it's going down. Lots of competition, only one can wear the crown. PPL Live.
Wildcard weekend is finally here. PPL Live Wildcard edition is ready to go. Gino the Gent here with my man Ulysses S. Hey, tell him what's up, man.
What's up, PPL?
Yep, it's time to go. Wildcard time, ready to go. The bye weeks are also in effect. The top 2 seeds sitting back, raring to see who they play in the final 4 round. But before we get to all of that, let's take an eye back to the final week of the regular season, starting with the Argonauts ending the Skull season by the hair on their chinny chin chin, 106 to 105. Patty's Twins clinch the playoffs, get by a game Trey Fitty, 127 to 120. Only for the Boss ends the season on top, 109 to 90. Squad underestimated ends the regular season as the hottest team in the PPL, 118 to the United Players 68. And Appease the Gods leaves no doubt on their way to clinching that 6th seed, 141 to 86. Man, hey, the last week of the PPL season, so much to be decided, man. What do you think of all that action?
I mean, I loved it. We were talking the last few weeks about how exciting this playoff push was going to be, and it sure delivered. And Gino, whenever I can call it, the 2 teams that are out winning, getting in, I love it. Makes me feel like I know what I'm talking about. Love to see the competitive nature, and I'm excited for some playoff action.
No, definitely, man. Definitely. Let's get into that. But before we get into that, man, we got to take an eye back to the 2023 season. We're going to give you our good, bad, and ugly for the regular season, man. It was a good year for some, a bad year for others, and a really ugly year for even the other ones. What you think of your good, bad, and ugly for the 2023 regular season? Let me hear your good first, bro.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to go with the gaff, man.
Okay.
I'll say, I know you picked him right out the gate, Gino, and I'll say I didn't necessarily see it the same way, but really just throughout this season, I mean, going 5-3 in the division, really just having kind of control in a very tumultuous division. They showed that, of a rambunctious bunch, they seem to just be ahead above everybody else.
Right.
Go into this week, and I think are really in an advantageous position with that bye week in number 2. I think that, how these matchups shake out, it may not be the best to be the number 1 seed, And I'm just really impressed with the Gaff did. I like his lineup. I like what he's got going down the stretch here and into the playoffs. I think he's going to be highly competitive. And again, overall, just a great return to the top of Omega for the Gaff. I mean, I'm sure he would have wanted to win last week, but hey, if you're going to lose it, lose that one, and can take a week off and watch the competitors around him fight for an opportunity to go at the Gaff.
No, definitely, man, definitely. The Gaff was my pick to win the Omega Conference. Now they're sitting pretty at that 2 seed, waiting for the lowest or the highest remaining seed in that next round, man. Let me hear your bat.
Bad, man. I hate to give it to the guy because I loved how he was fighting throughout this season. It's going to go to the Skulls.
Okay.
Again, got down to the wire where this team in the last 2 weeks, if they would have won those 2 games, I mean, the Gaff in that same time frame, I mean, did not do so well.
I mean, they'd have a 2 seed if they won the last 2 weeks, man.
Man, he lost the last 2 weeks, and really, he wins either one of those, he clinches a playoff position. Why it's even worse than that, when you look at some of his losses throughout the year, I mean, this guy lost to the Argonauts week 2 and week 14 by less than 2 points. Each of those matchups, just gut punches. You look, I mean, week 3 loses to the UP by 8 points. Week 4 lost to Patty's Twins by 6. Gets to week 8, loses to the BG2, who do not win many games.
Right.
And then again, you go down the stretch and you've got hard games against the Gaff. The Argonauts can't get there. And ultimately, it ended his season. And again, this team was much better than I thought that their finish was. And hell, man, I told this team, do not go with Pittsburgh coach. I did not like that coach pick last week. And hell, if he would have just stayed with his Buffalo Bills, he probably would be talking about what life is like in the playoffs. So it was a bad season overall. The Skulls, I think, need to go into some serious rethink mode, and get ready to be more competitive in the next season's campaign.
No, definitely, man. This was a team that also was very high on this season. Them and the Gaff were 2 of the teams that I thought were going to really go far. Now, they did, slug it out for the Omega Conference title in week 13. But at the end of the day, the Skulls just could not get the wins where they needed them and drop way too many games that they should have won in critical situations, man. So what's your ugly?
Yeah, my ugly, I mean, it's got to be an obvious pick. I mean, I need about Trey Fitty. I mean, guy went 3-11. I mean, although it was active down the stretch, I don't think really was setting lineups. And I mean, again, started the season winning 5 games or losing 5 games straight. Yeah. Ended the season losing 5 straight. If you actually look at this team, week 5 through 9, their lowest scoring week was 125. They won 3 of those 5 games in that stretch. Right. This team, I think, really had the pieces to do a lot better. But again, it was ugly, and I'll say it was ugly not just because of this season, but again, I think this team could be a lot more competitive. I mean, again, you look at other teams and what they're doing. Last year's champion squad underestimated has made rogues gallery of guys that were on I Need About Trey Fitty's squad. Most of all, Tyreek Hill. But even this season, I mean, Dak Prescott, who's leading the charge over there, started the season on I Need About Trey Fitty.
Well, they're better draft picks at the time, too, we said.
Yeah, and so I really think that this team could be in a much more competitive position in their second league. I mean, again, they've been very intentional to go young, but I don't think that they necessarily needed to do that wholesale. They could have made some more strategic moves. Yeah. And again, I hope that this owner really gets it together. I mean, this will be his 3rd year in the league, and I expect to see a jump in performance.
Nah, man. I mean, Trey Fitty. I mean, he came in, got some early stimulus packages, gave them away to squad underestimated, and ironically, squad underestimated wants them out of the league now for non-competitiveness. So it's just crazy how things turn in the PPL. And Trey Fiddy, I mean, it was an ugly season, whether it was intentional or not. 3-11 is just a really bad look in the PPL. Even when teams aren't setting lineups and doing better than that. My good for the season, man, I gotta go with Squad Underestimated. I mean, they really put together a stellar campaign to back up last year's Pantheon Cup title. I'm looking at basically all the moves that they made throughout the season. Sam Laporta, Dak Prescott, just to name a couple. Remember, they were kind of unsettled at quarterback with Justin Fields struggles. They got rid of Kyler Murray. Things went south when Kirk Cousins tore his Achilles. So Squad found a way to make things right and keep themselves going in the right direction. And like you said, I mean, I guess they could give Trey Fiddy the assist, but at the end of the day, they were able to reap the benefit and reap the rewards. Leading the PPL in scoring this season, I think the first time that they've ever been able to do that. So hats off to Squad Underestimated for being the Juggernaut Aristaya Award winners this year. Just a really, really big time year. Finished one game out of that Alpha Conference Championship. So they got close, but still have not been able to capture an Alpha Conference title. That still has eluded them. But they got a chance to go for their second Pantheon Cup title and are primed and in position to do so as the 3 seed going against the 6 seed. Appease the gods in a matchup they're favored by, I believe, like 40 points. So Squad Underestimated is really looking good and is expected to do big things once again this season. In the playoffs. So I really was impressed with Squad and love what they did throughout the year, getting big time wins, and I love how they closed the season with that stretch of high scoring games of 170 plus. Squad has looked awesome this year, and I'm expecting probably more of the same in the PPL playoffs. My bad for the season, man, and this is going to sound very nitpicky, but if you're looking at how everything's going down and not just the results on the scoreboard, you can't say it's anything but bad. But I'm going with the Argonauts. The season, yeah, they won 10 games, but, I mean, every game that they won, they were winning.
Wow.
I mean, Ulysses, look at what's going on here, man. They're winning games 100 to 50. They had by far the lowest points against this season. I mean, let's talk about it. Devontae Adams, who's throwing to Devontae Adams? Who's throwing to Justin Jefferson? These are guys that they're going to need to depend on in the PPL playoffs. It just doesn't really look good. They're
just lost Herbert.
Just lost Justin Herbert. Now they're going with old Matthew Stafford has no mobility back there. I mean, so they're the number 1 seed. It's almost a ceremonial number 1 seed for the Argonauts. Things just really went bad. The Cooper Kupp trade blew up. The Brock Purdy trade was bad. When you look back now, they could actually have him in their lineup for the playoffs. They don't have him now. So that's something else that
we did talk about that, Gino.
Yeah,
about if maybe the Argos should have gone the other direction here. I mean, nothing they could do about it now. Obviously,
yeah.
I mean,
no use crying over spilt milk. But if you're looking at it from a seasonal perspective, yeah, they're 10-4. I believe this is like their 5th or 6th double-digit win season, by far the most in the PPL, 9th Alpha Conference title by far. So is it what I'm saying, nitpicking? Maybe to an extent. But after week 1, they didn't score over 150 again in the season. So this was not a very high-scoring Argonaut team despite their record. So that was my bad, even though, hey, you never know. I mean, they could go from bad to great with a Pantheon Cup title. They're 5th. But we'll see. They have a lot of work to do. And my ugly man for the season, and I just got to go here, is the United play as the Destroyers. I mean, it was so much. I mean, maybe it's beating a dead horse and beating him down. Maybe we could have went with the Baby Gas team, but I mean, the Baby Gas team is the perennial 5-9, 6-8 team that's just middle of the pack to lower echelon. The United play as the Destroyers were the Omega Conference champions. Thought that they could win Omega Conference title again this year. I thought that they actually won that trade where they got rid of Cooper Kupp for Tua Tagovailoa. Things were looking really good for the United players throughout the season at certain points. Got big wins at certain junctures of the season. Had impressive scoring outbursts. But at the end of the day, mismanagement, laissez-faire attitude, and Sunday morning adjustments just aren't going to get it done in the PPL. The league has risen past that. The United players have been to a couple of Pantheon Cups in their history, have won a few Omega Conference titles, so this isn't a franchise that is poor in any way. But management this year has just been very, very ugly, and that's why they had the ugly season that they had. But as I always like to say, what's past is prologue. Right now we have a very, very special guest. I actually got to go and speak with a very, very special guest of the PPL, the number 2 seed, the Gaff Attack. And here is that interview that we had yesterday. And we have a special guest for our Wild Card weekend preview. We have the Omega Conference champions on the line, the Gaff Attack, celebrating their 6th Omega Conference title. They got the bye week this week. What's up, man? How you doing?
What's up, PPL?
Nah, man, congratulations on that 6th Omega Conference title. Got that bye week sitting back, waiting on the winner of the wild card matchups. How do you feel about your season and winning that 6th title?
No, it feels good to be waiting and just seeing who I have to go against. And I think the season went as well as it could. I mean, obviously there's some places where you can always make little adjustments, but I think I'm pretty happy with where I'm sitting for the rest of the season.
No, definitely, man. The Omega Conference was a dogfight all season long. I mean, you were 8-6. I mean, you barely. I mean, I guess you should see the other guys. 8-6 was a true like Royal Rumble over there, man. How did you get out of that with all of those teams? I mean, the other 2 teams that got in were 7-7, so it was really pretty much a tough way to separate yourself in a conference full of dangerous teams.
Yeah, I mean, really about the matchups and just really trying to find what the best scenario could be and just sticking with it and not making last-minute changes so that, you know, you kind of just throw all that research away because, you know, I probably spend more time listening to things and reading more than I should. But, you know, I make my own decisions in the end, and, you know, that's what makes it fun is that, you know, it's all on me.
No, definitely, man. No, you are the result of your decisions. You know what I mean? Talk about the Skulls, though, the Omega Conference Championship game. Like I said, that conference was a dogfight. They clawed back. I think they won like 4 straight to even put themselves in position to play for the Omega title. They were a team that I had picked all year. And even at the end of the year, they lost by 1 point to get knocked out of the playoffs. But they found themselves in position at the end there. Talk about that matchup. I mean, and even their previous matchup where they beat you when they were on the slide to save their season.
Yeah, I mean, just really, really tough way to end the season after making that great of a push. And I was with you preseason. I had them going, doing big things, and was pretty, you know, worried about my chances. But everything worked out, and you know, it really comes down to the players and how they played on those days. And I think he just kind of got really unlucky with some injuries and also with, you know, just some poor play making and decision making by some of his core players. And it's always hard with turnovers and things. And, you know, and I think he's had his fair share over this season for things that just should have gone a different way or could have gone a different way.
No, for sure, man. And speaking of players, man, you got them, man. Let's talk about Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, that connection. Obviously, they started very, very hot for you. That 10-1 start really helped you set the pace and win the Omega Conference title. How confident are you in those guys? And obviously, like a CD Lamb and a Jahmyr Gibbs, your number 2 overall pick was a home run pick, probably the best pick of the PPL draft, looking at his youth and the potential playmaking. I think that he was probably a little bit better of a pick than Bijan Robinson, man. Talk to me about the core of your team and the patience. I mean, because last year, I mean, you had pretty much a lot of these guys. It looked like you should have been a big time threat last year, but it all kind of came into focus this year. Talk to me about that.
You know, I'm glad you brought this up because that's one of the things early in this dynasty format is that you said there's a lot that makes a difference between just having a good team here and there and having a dynasty team. And I think I've really tried to build this through the years. I mean, I've had CeeDee Lamb, as one of my top picks in the draft. The same thing, even recently with Kenneth Walker and like you said, Jahmyr Gibbs. And so I feel like the dynasty format has really helped me kind of fill some gaps that normally would be difficult. But I got lucky with AJ Brown being traded, because he was on the Titans, and so that matchup just kind of fell into me. But
for sure. But I mean, even with AJ Brown, man, I mean, he was productive on the Titans, and he was a guy that you had faith in and drafted very early on. You liked the talent, and I mean, he's rewarded you with his production.
Yeah. And so, I guess what it comes down to is just, having faith in those players and, hopefully they hold up their end of the bargain. Like DK Metcalf wasn't doing too many things for me, but, recently he kind of won me one. So I got to give it to him.
All right, Gaff, man, you being real political, real diplomatic, real nice right now, and I appreciate it, man. I'm Gino the Gen. I'm a gentleman myself, and we both have a gentlemanly disposition and demeanor. But come on, all right, we got to get into it now. Let's talk about it. Wildcard weekend, we got some great matchups on the slate, man. You got to give me your preview here. Tell me about the first matchup, Wildcard weekend, your nemesis in the Omega Conference, Patty's Twins, going up against Only for the Boss, a rematch of Pantheon Cups 12 and 13, man. Tell me what you think of this matchup. This is going to be a really good one. And I mean, you could see either one of these teams next week.
Right, yeah. And, honestly, I've been looking at this matchup, and I would rather see the Twins, but I think the Boss has got it.
Okay.
Just from the sheer, just from the sheer matchups.
Okay.
And I'd like to see the Twins for multiple reasons, but, really, I think it would be great.
Hold on, man. We'll get there. But let's talk about this matchup.
Okay, all right. Well, I'd say that, Patrick Mahomes really hasn't been looking good. So on the road in New England, I don't know about that one. So it really just, again, like you've been saying all season, depends on how the Chiefs play. I mean, if they show up, this is going to be a no-brainer. But if they don't, I mean, it's going to be really close.
I mean, they've slipped in some matchups. I mean, we've expected them to win lately. I mean, at New England, they still got to go against a pretty, stout defense there. So, no, definitely, man, the Chiefs could be in for a tougher game than that might have appeared maybe a couple of weeks ago. What else are you seeing?
And I just don't think they're in the right headspace. Okay. I feel like they just kind of you can see the season slipping. Like you can see Patrick Mahomes losing his composure, which is he's Mr. Composure. So I mean, for me right now, I'm just reading the tea leaves on that one. That's just how I feel. No,
definitely, man. No. We asking your opinion here. No, and what do you think about on the Twin side and their lineup?
Well, I love Brock Purdy. I think he's a great acquisition. I think that's pretty much turned the team around.
Yeah,
like you guys have pointed out. Other than that, Ezekiel Elliott's going to pick up some slack. I feel that they've been hoping for Eckler to come through with, and like I said, the pieces are there. I think that everything is just kind of one of those. Projection wise, you just have to go off of what you feel, or if you feel that ESPN's projections are close. But
yeah, for sure. No, definitely, man. So who do you got winning this matchup in the end? How do you see it going down?
I mean, right now I have the Twins winning it by like 5 points, maybe like 112 to 107 is kind of what I'm thinking in my head.
Okay, so you got the Twins. You actually do have the Twins winning this match.
Yeah, yeah, I do, but I don't. You know what I mean? Like again, I want them to win, but then also I feel like they're going to win just based up on these matchups.
So head and heart says Twins.
Yes.
Okay, all right, and let's go to the other one, man. This one should be interesting just for the message board sake, man. This is a pretty good matchup here. We got Appease the Gods going up against Squad Underestimated. Squad Underestimated going to defend that Pantheon Cup title. Appease the Gods still scraping for that first Pantheon Cup title. 2 original 5 teams, man. What do you think of this matchup? Should be a really good one.
Yeah, again, projection-wise, it's really looks like it's heavily sided towards Chuck.
Okay.
And if you look at some of the matchups, the only thing I'm concerned is, I really feel like they need to give some people some rest on the 49ers. But, other than that, I feel like it's a cake matchup against Arizona. Like, they don't really need to be stressing everybody out.
Yeah.
And so I just don't know how hard they're going to be pushing both Ayuk and Christian McCaffrey. And so again, that's kind of one of those game script situations where it looks like a great matchup. I just don't know how many points are really there.
Yeah.
And so again, I think, there are some pieces where it could be a really great matchup, but right now I have Chuck winning this one 130 to 110.
Okay. No, so you say this is it for ATG. They were just lucky to kind of make it there, right?
Yeah, to be brutally honest, I'm kind of surprised they're there, and I was really just kind of shocked when I looked at it. But it all comes down to your schedule and who you played and if you won or not. And so even though they didn't have the better, I feel like they had the better record in the division, but they lost one more game. Is that what it was? Yeah. So again, it just feels like they got like just the poop end of the stick on that one. I just feel like they missed it by 1 point. Missed it by that much.
Right.
So I feel like I was just kind of surprised HEG made it in. I mean, like, not that they don't deserve it, but it's the same situation where they're really going to have some of the people that haven't showed up show up.
All right, man. So you got the Squad Underestimated and Patty's Twins both winning their matchups, meaning you would see Squad Underestimated in Final Four weekend. So we got that out of the way. So it looks like your forecast is you and Squad in a clash to go to Pantheon Cup 15. Now, if I was asking the Gaff who he wanted, you kind of alluded to that. Who you would want would be Patty's Twins. So in that scenario, a piece of the gods would have to win, and Patty's Twins would then play you in the second round.
Oh, gotcha.
So is that who you want?
Yeah, I mean...
And why? We got to know why. Why?
Well, there's just history there. I mean, like, it's good to win, but it's good to win against certain people, you know? And so it's like, I'd love to beat Chuck, but I'd like to beat the Twins more. So it's just kind of one of those where I just, again, it's just more of, I'm not even really thinking matchups when I hear that one. I just want to play the Twins one more time because, it's one more time.
No, definitely, man. No, I feel you there. Good luck throughout the playoffs. And then, with that being said, who would you want to see in the Pantheon Cup?
Wow. I think, again, it's one of those where the Argos, it would be nice to relive that matchup. And again, if you're going to win, it's always great to win against the best. And so if they're the division champs, then that's who I'd like to play. That's who I'd like to beat.
Okay, so you would want to see the Argonauts in the Pantheon Cup Alpha champs against Omega champs.
Yes, sir.
Okay, man. No. Thanks again for giving us a moment of your time. Great in-depth interview before your Final Four matchup with either... you're going to play one of these three teams. It's going to be either Squad Underestimated, only for the boss, or Patty's Twins. So we'll see how Wildcard weekend breaks down. Thanks again, Gaff. Good luck. May the odds be ever in your favor, man. And kick back, enjoy Wildcard weekend, and good luck in the Final Four.
Hey, and I appreciate you doing this show. It's super fun to listen to, and I really appreciate everything you do.
That was our interview with the Omega Conference champs, the Gaff Attack. What did you think of that interview there, man?
Well, you hear so much about why I think he's good. Again, he just sounds really had favorable things to say about teams with prestige, with history, and I think kept it real and gave an honest opinion of what he thinks. I'll be honest, I don't agree, and we're going to get right into that, right, Gino?
Oh, yeah, definitely, man, and let's get into it, man, and let's start in our first matchup, a big one, a huge matchup in the PPL, a blood feud in Alpha and Omega as we got Squad Underestimated, the defending Pantheon Cup champions, going up against Appease the Gods in a huge wildcard weekend matchup. 3 versus 6 here, Ulysses. Big one here, man. What do you think of this matchup? Squad Underestimated. Their first stop on defense of their Pantheon Cup title starts in the playoffs Wildcard weekend with ATG still trying to get that Pantheon Cup title. What do you think of this one?
Yeah, I mean, I think that if you looked at it like the gaff attack, you'd say, look at these projections, done. But I think, again, what the gaff attack misses about what goes on in this is, again, hey, we got to play the game. And football is a highly emotional game.
Right.
Some guys are highly projected, come out there with some other stuff on their mind. Other guys are trying to make a spot. I mean, look at our boy Tommy Cutlets out there. So whenever I look at this, I have to really disagree with what I'm seeing, and I'll go with it. When I look at a piece of the gods, Lamar Jackson really found his stride last week. He went and picked up Isaiah Likely, who was a part of that, and I love this matchup against Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Both teams really needing to win this to keep in pace for seeding. When I look at Bijan and company against Carolina, that he should absolutely eat there. We saw what Raheem was capable of last week and why he's number 2 in the league. I mean, again, trying to keep pace with Christian across the way.
Yeah.
DJ Moore is everything on that Chicago offense right now, and Justin Fields is cracking. I mean, that's something squad might want to look at. We'll get there in a second.
Okay.
Michael Pittman's getting some real volume. I mean, he may not be getting in the end zone, but I mean, this guy seems like he's just waiting for that, and he's sure getting the volume to justify it. And I mean, hey, man, Devonta hasn't been in the lineup the last few weeks. And I mean, I'm thinking a piece of the gods knows what's on the line here. This is the season. This guy's a keeper, former Heisman winner. And I think he's thinking he may get some displacement aggression after Philly got bossed up. They're playing a Seattle team that is highly susceptible to giving up points through the air. And Devonta should be a part of that. I love the Chiefs matchup. This is where I disagree with what the Gav had, man. I think, the Chiefs are struggling. They're trying to find a new identity, but they're still highly capable.
Right.
And again, this New England matchup is very appealing. The Chiefs look great down the stretch, and I'd be worried to be playing the Chiefs right now. And again, he's not going with a coach in the lineup right now. And I'll say, I mean, a piece of the gods has had a terrible stretch of coaches.
Yeah, sure.
He's lost 7 coaches this season, and he's played weeks without a coach.
Yeah.
So I think he's trying to use a little bit of gamesmanship here. Dolphins are playing the morning game, and this is what I'm talking about. There's some traps on this schedule.
Okay.
Dak Prescott and company are going to Buffalo, playing outside. It's going to be a little bit more chilly for them cats from Dallas. So we'll see how they perform out in some weather. Alvin Kamara, the Giants are looking a little bit more competitive. Christian McCaffrey, Brian Ayuk. I mean, we're talking about this, I mean, there's potential in this Arizona game to be a little bit of a trap game. And Tyreek Hill, I mean, we don't know his status 100%, but I know what is going to be happening. Sauce Gardner's going to be covering him. So if he's not 100%, he might be on the field, but he may not be producing. I think he's coming off one of his season low of 8 points out there last week.
Right.
So, Sam Laporta playing against Denver might be a little bit more challenging than it looks. I think that a piece of the gods finds a way here. It just comes down to matchups, and I think they continue to disrupt, and I think that they get this one 131 to squads 127.
So you're setting up a matchup of the 6th seed going to play the number 1 seed Argonauts. Be an interesting matchup there, man.
I called the playoff seeding down the stretch. I'm gonna say that a piece of the gods, again, disruptive here, gets their go at the best team in the league, in those Argos. So yeah, I've got a disruptive first playoff matchup.
Wow. So you got them first off knocking off the defending Pantheon Cup champs, man. That would be crazy, but I got to go the other way, man. I'm looking at Dak Prescott. Buffalo's defense has looked better over this stretch. They are at home, but Dallas is hot, man. They're playing very, very well right now. They're moving the football up and down the field, and Buffalo's defense doesn't scare anybody. I think that game's got shootout written all over it. I'm looking at Alvin Kamara against the New York Giants. They're at home. And he's actually one of the few sure things that is on that offense. Alvin's going to get his. We know that. McCaffrey and Ayuk, even if they are in a trap situation or in a game where they blow the Cardinals out, I think that they're going to still be highly effective and highly productive for Squad Underestimated. Those guys are on the war path for that number 1 seed, and I don't think they want to rest those guys quite yet, despite the Omega Conference champions' pleas for rest. Tyreek Hill, man. That's the one guy I kind of am a little worried about with the questionable tag. We saw him limp out of the Monday night game. Came back in, caught a couple of balls. But at the end of the day, I didn't think he probably should have came back in that game. He's obviously a little nicked up, and that could affect him against a top passing defense like the Jets. Now, on ATG's side, there is room for optimism. I like Lamar on Sunday night at Jacksonville. If weather shouldn't play too big a part in that game, we saw what he did in the rain against the Rams. 37-point game was really awesome in getting ATG in a leave no doubt effort to make it to this point. Raheem Mostert had another big day, and I think that's another place that ATG could potentially check Squad if the running game gets going for the Dolphins and Tyreek's nick. They may take the ball out of the hands of Tua, put it in the running game's hands, and maybe Raheem can bring another big week. Loving DJ Moore. Him and Justin Fields are looking better and better together. Pittman is a volume monster, and I like the likely connection, but at the end of the day, Squad Underestimated has been on one of the greatest scoring paces we've seen since the Argonauts of their heyday. And those Argonaut teams won Pantheon Cups, and I think that Squad Underestimated is on the mission to do the same. I got Squad Underestimated getting this matchup relatively comfortably. I got Squad Underestimated winning this one 138 to appease the gods, 160. And moving on to our next wild card weekend matchup, we got a big one, a rematch of Pantheon Cups 12 and 13. Two teams who have seen a lot of each other over the last couple of years. A rivalry renewed in the PPL. We got Patty's Twins going up against Only for the Boss. All right, man, big one here. Only for the Boss going to war with Patty's Twins again in the playoffs. These two teams have gotten used to seeing each other in big-time matchups, whether it's prestige matchups of the week, season openers, or Pantheon Cups. Man, what do you think of this one? Big one for both of these teams. Only one can survive. Patty's Twins going up against Only for the Boss.
Yeah, I mean, this is really a high profile matchup.
Right.
I mean, again, I think two of the really high profile franchises, right? Only for the Boss coming in and really just making it known. The Twins, I mean, hey, their first campaign without Aaron Rodgers, go out there, get Brock Purdy via trade. Right. And I think that that's a big part of the reason they've been a force. I think if they don't make that trade, they're not in the playoffs. Right. However, I think it comes down this week. And for me, it's really unfortunate. I think that an injury really plays big here. Not having Keenan Allen in the lineup, he's so critical to the point ceiling of this team. Yeah. Not having him really is detrimental. Also, factor this, man. Austin Eckler, he just hasn't looked like the same guy this year. I liked what the Ezekiel Elliott pick last week. I mean, hell, got them the win. I think that this is the week that you go and find somebody else. Like, who's your free agency pickup this week that you're going to get in the lineup? And she's already got to do that for a flex. I'm looking at the rest of the lineup. It's shaky. So this team needs to go out and get some help right now. And again, I don't think it's Zeke this week. I think that Kansas City defense is stout. Okay. I like Amon-Ra. Cortland Sutton's been factoring a little bit more, and that game might be a little bit more high scoring. Dallas Goedert didn't really factor, but again, I think he could. I don't like the Steelers D. Again, especially with that offense, Mitch Trubisky, he's going to be turning the ball over.
She's got Coach D on the bench, man.
I mean, exactly. I think that she could go in a different direction. I think she would be better served by going for the Colts. And I think that the 49ers coach, I mean, I think that they're going to win that game ultimately.
Yeah.
I look at the other side, though. I mean, we saw how fired up Patrick Mahomes and company were,
Right.
feeling that an injustice had occurred.
Right.
They're going to be going into a New England team in full disarray, and I expect them to take advantage. I expect them to go full throttle. Don't cut back, and again, go ham on New England. I think that Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and the coach all shine this week.
Okay.
Kyron Williams, I mean, he's showing again to be one of the very few three down backs in the league.
Right,
and
right,
against in this Washington game, I think he should eat. Zach Moss eating because Jonathan Taylor is not available. Stephon against Dallas. Oh, we're going to see some fireworks in that game, I believe.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, his one play here that I don't like or love, I should say, is Keaton Mitchell. But hey, man, everybody might eat in that Baltimore-Jacksonville game.
Yeah.
I don't like really the Browns coach. To me, is either this is going to be a 16 to 20 point coach win, or this is going to be a 2 to 5 point coach win. Chicago's looked more competent. The Browns haven't. And so I think for that reason, I think only for the boss actually puts a leave no doubt performance. They would have got anybody this week.
Okay.
I think that they're showing, hey, man, some disrespect being paid maybe our way. And I think that they go 144 to the Twins 122.
Man, at the end of the day, man, I think I gotta agree with you. News came down that Keenan Allen is not gonna play Sunday. I think that was the death knell for Patty's Twins. This guy's
absolutely
pretty much carried them throughout the season. Yeah, Brock Purdy was a great acquisition, and for years to come, it looks like the Twins might be set at that position. But Austin Eckler is on the decline, man. They're talking about splitting carries over there. Ezekiel Elliott, I think that the Twins don't have a choice. I think they gotta play Zeke. Amon-Ra is going to have to be the breadwinner here, but he's not as consistent as Keenan Allen is, and I think that's what's going to spell doom for the Twins. Only for the Boston side, I think that Stephon Diggs is going to play big in that Dallas matchup. His brother's not going to be out there, and I still think that's a matchup he's going to want to shine in. I'm loving Kyron Williams now against that Washington defense, one of the lower-ranked defenses in the league. Zach Moss, he hasn't had the impact I thought he'd have with Jonathan Taylor out, but he's still capable. And Keaton Mitchell, he's a 50-point bonus waiting to happen if he can break off a big screen catch or run. He's a big play guy. And then we talked about Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. Deebo Samuel's looking like one of the top receivers in the PPL coming down the stretch. And only for the boss, this is a good week for only for the boss. After last week, even though they won that matchup, they scored low. I think that they scored big this week. I'm with you. I think that they get this. I don't think there's enough on the Twins side, even if Brock Purdy has a big game. I don't see where they get it from across the pond. Now, I know that Cortland Sutton can get some stuff done, but if you're dependent on that, I mean, you're in a lot of trouble. There's no flex there because they don't know who they want to put there. They don't know if they want to trust Addison. They don't know if they want to trust the other Dameon Pierce, the other running back. So it's really going to just be a tough one for the Twins. Maybe Taysom Hill cracks that lineup. Steelers D probably needs to get up out of there. But at the end of the day, I think only for the boss, regardless, is going to be too much for Patty's Twins. They did a good job of fighting down the stretch to make it in here. But I think we're getting to the point where the big boys are going to play. I got only for the boss getting this matchup, continuing their winning streak over the Twins in playoff situations. I got only for the boss winning this one 139 to Patty's Twins 127. Alrighty, PPLers, thanks for another great week of PPL Live. I enjoyed it. I hope you guys did too. Wild Card weekend is here. We talked to the GAF. Unfortunately, we were not able to secure the Alpha Conference champions for an interview. But that being said, that aside, forget about them. Good luck. Have a good weekend. And may the odds be ever in your favor.
Hey there, PPL. You still there? Now that Gino's gone, we can get down to business. You know what time it is. It's time for PPL After Dark. Well, Gino, he couldn't lock down the top dog in Alpha in the PPL. But your boy Ulysses got you. What I have here is the prestigious owner, Jason of his Argonauts. How you doing, man?
What's up? How you doing, man?
Hey, man, I appreciate you coming on the show. I know your time is precious, but I got to ask, man, how's it feel to have the reins of Alpha back in your control?
I mean, it feels like it always felt glorious. You know, that's what we do. That's what we about. We about stacking titles, stacking prestige. We are the Pantheon Prestige League, and that's what it's all about, winning in style, baby.
Well, let's talk about that because I mean, hey, we hearing Gino out. I mean, again, man, his good and good bads. I mean, he was all over the place. Then he gonna go and do this interview with the Gaff. Let me ask you this, okay? He's got the squad as his season good. Again, doesn't win the conference.
Let's talk about squad underestimated real quick. He out here politicking and shit, talking about teams need to be thrown out of the league because they tanking and I would never do this. You know what else he's never done? He's never won the Alpha Conference title, okay? That's something he's never done. You know what else he's never done? Beating the Argonauts in a must-win situation. So, squad underestimated, get missing me with all of that politic and he doing, talking about voting and all that bull. Nobody want to hear all of that, player. I remember back in week 5, he was talking about the season being over. He was acting all despondent, bleeding hard, writing his diary on the board.
Just did reread that.
And I'm becoming of a champion. So what our job is to do is restore the prestige to the PPL, take my title back, and get it off these suckers. Go ahead. What's your next question?
I mean, I'm just going with like, look, he gonna say, you know, that the squad overachieving over here. Well, look, I'm looking at squad and I'm like, look, okay, well, squad 9-4, okay, highest scoring team.
Okay.
So I don't want to hear this underperforming. I mean, again, against all odds, even with the injury, he goes out and get Matthew Stafford, who again is looking really good these last few weeks.
Look, man, you preaching to the choir over here. You ain't telling me shit I don't know. You telling suckers that watch the show what they should know and what they should understand. But let's be real. PPL Live don't ever give the Argonauts the due they respect.
Obviously, I mean, hey, you sit atop right now, team to beat, number 1 seed. Besides the Argo, who impressed you within the league?
I mean, I guess the Gaff attack was all right this year. You know, I mean, they scored a lot of points. Squad underestimated, and that's why Gino over there loving on those fools because they scoring all of these points right now. We get it, but we resourceful. Yeah. We getting the wins where we need them. So I understand where it's all coming from. I understand the projections. I understand why we looking like lame ducks. Because you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you, Ulysses. You know, we pride ourselves on an imperial state of mind, right?
Absolutely.
And you know, this is if we were ranking all my Argonaut teams, this would be in my bottom 5. So maybe that's what Gino's saying right now. But you see, bottom 5 Argo is number 1 seed still at this point in the PPL. And let's talk about
great point.
Guys like Gino the Gent, guys like Squad underestimated, the Gaff attack, and even to an extent only for the boss. Talking, you know, they talking big right now. But, I mean, we moved to this 1-week format to help suckers like that out.
Right. Yeah.
See, I won 4 Pantheon Cups, bro, over a 2-week stretch, going into week 17, having to pick starters out of bums. You see what I mean? Because your best guys are resting by that point. See, I went through the fire. You know what? We won't put it down.
Getting onto that, I mean, who do you, in the 2023 campaign, I mean, hey, some teams is done. I mean, who really wet the bed for you? Who did you think was going to be shit and didn't do shit? I mean, there's a lot of candidates. Let's be real.
Hey, let's talk about Trey Fitty. I mean, this fool out here checking birth certificates to decide whether you're going to be on his squad or not. I don't understand it. And then, we got rid of the weak-ass meme machine because, you know, Squad underestimated was switching in and out parts with this mug. Then we bring in another cat, and he's just giving his whole roster. But, you know, we have to detach ourselves from all of this stuff because, you know, the league went real campy as of late with this PPL Live shit.
I love that take. Love that take. But let's be real. I mean, didn't this just fill the void when things like the Argonautica stopped being published so that teams would take notice? I mean, why haven't we seen an Argonautica?
I mean, let's talk about what it is. I mean, I think the league shifted. It shifted away from, brute strength, the Spartan way, the Agoge, the Argonaut way, to this Athenian democratic way of everybody else having their time and their time to shine. And even still, we sit as the number 1 seed. Even still, we dominate the PPL and are by far the greatest team in the league's history. And we're going to continue that when we claim our 5th Pantheon Cup.
So let's talk about that. Let's shift this into the playoffs. So obviously, there's nothing to prove. You've said it. I mean, sitting atop, which of the 5 other teams has the most to prove in this campaign?
This year?
Yeah, absolutely. Besides the Argonauts, who has the most to prove?
I have nothing to prove. So, I mean, me actually being in these playoffs, I'm like, I'm an honored guest here. You see what I'm saying? I'm sitting up here like big dog, man. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm looking at the rest of these suckers and who really got to prove something, to me, this 1 week format, you're not proving anything to the Argonaut King, to Hell Hopkins. You haven't proven anything. But if we're going to go with this approach, and if I'm going to answer your question right, is Squad underestimated? That excuse for a Pantheon Cup title he got last year? Yeah, he better win it this year if he want to get the Argonauts respect.
Yeah, and I mean, let's talk about like the teams in the matchups and how you think they're going to go this week. Because as I was listening to your counterpart in Omega,
Right? Yeah.
The gaff attack.
I mean, as I'm hearing the teams he wants to play, he's talking about the prestige in the league. You know what I was hearing? I think that I've got the best chance against the Twins. I mean, again, if Appease the Gods wins, they're definitely
not playing that.
And that was always one thing
the gap is which is the easiest matchup for me.
Look. Sidebar. That was one thing that always annoyed me about the gaff. He always seemed to pick on the resident female in the PPL. It's always the Twins this, the Twins that when it comes to the gaff attack. But you know what? You know one thing he did get right in this little interview he had with Gino the Gent? You know one thing he did get right? Who he's going to see in Pantheon Cup 15. He knows it's time if he decides to make it.
Well, no, and I mean, to me, this is such a unique opportunity. And again, very reclusive these last few seasons. And again, we've seen other teams win. I mean, the one thing that really speaks to me is winning. And again, when I see what's been going on, I love it. Let me hear it. What do you got? What do you got for? You've already had some words about Squad. They're playing Appease the Gods, big favorites. Oh. I mean, we heard it. Gaff has everybody but me has Appease the Gods. Where you thinking this matchup?
I smell an upset. I got Appease the Gods. The Zealots for Appease the Gods. They gonna come get their first taste of the Argonauts in the playoffs.
Oh yeah, I mean storied. Two of the original 5. I mean, hey, that's something that's special in this playoffs. I mean, we didn't really hit on it yet, but you've got 5 original franchises in here. Been here for the last decade and a half. Never happened before. And I mean, you've been knocking the current playoff format, but this wouldn't be possible in the previous playoff format.
Let's be honest.
No, but let's be real. You only have one. You can get some stunners
in there.
Okay, but you're asking me a question, right?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Okay. We don't need 6 teams. This is 60% of the PPL in the damn playoffs. The playoffs are supposed to be a prestigious place, a place where only the best of the best make it. When you got over 50% of anything going into something, a little mediocrity creeps in, and that's what I'm seeing even in this round. I mean, it is what it is. I was the 5 seed last year. Felt dirty being there. But you know what? We paid the Skulls back in kind for what they did.
Yeah. Well, and let's talk about this second matchup. I mean, who you got? I mean, only for the boss, a team that was in the driver's seat for some of this season, playing the Twins, a stalwart, a team that cannot be underestimated because they will get that ass.
A team that I'm highly familiar with. The Twins, they get it done. But at the end of the day, I don't think they're gonna get it done this week. Only for the boss is one of the toughest teams in the PPL. The last couple of years, and for good reason. Mahomes and those boys don't play. And I think that with the soft matchup like New England, a get right matchup, it is in New England, but I think they'll be fine. I think only for the boss is fine. They'll get there.
Well, and so with those matchups, you've got Appease the Gods facing you guys next week, and then that would mean only for the boss going to the Gaff, and the Gaff had a lot to say about Kansas City, the Chiefs, boss. I mean, a little bit of animosity I felt. Would it be a fitting matchup so that these guys could dust up so they could decide who wants to play the Argonauts?
I think it's apropos, and if you ask me who I want only for the boss in Pantheon Cup 15 to right the wrongs of the last couple of years. They eliminated my team. Therefore, my Pantheon Cup prediction, I know the Gaff wants this magical carpet ride with the Argonauts. We ain't interested in that. We interested in Argonaut vengeance. We want only for the boss in Pantheon Cup 15.
Yeah, vengeance has certainly been your theme. I mean, one final question I have for you. I mean, we've talked about playoff format. We've, talked about the prestige factor. I mean, there's been a couple of rumblings within the league. I mean, if you had to pick between one of these two scenarios, the PPL going back to a 4-team, 2-week playoff, or expanding out to add potentially two different franchises, what would you rather see as an owner?
2 more throats to cut is never a bad thing. I would say let's just go to 12. I mean, the cat's already out of the bag. We got to make it remedial for all the children in the PPL, so everybody's got to get their little 1-week shot. So we can leave it alone. Let's get 2 more teams up in here so I have some more teams to beat up on. Maybe we can even shake up the conferences so I can cut down the Twins and the Gaff attack twice a year.
Jason, really appreciate your time.
All right, thanks, man.